Today, I want to talk to you about an important IRS tax alert that affects taxpayers in California. The 2023 tax deadline has been extended for most California taxpayers, and I want to make sure that you have all the information you need to understand this extension and what it means for you. As you may already be aware, the IRS has extended the tax filing deadline for individual taxpayers in California to May 16, 2023. This extension applies to all individual taxpayers, regardless of whether they live in California or outside of the state. The extension also applies to the payment of any taxes due for the 2022 tax year. This means that if you owe taxes for the 2022 tax year, you have until May 16 to make your payment without incurring any penalties or interest. The extension was put in place to provide some relief to taxpayers who may be struggling financially due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It also gives taxpayers more time to gather the necessary documentation to file their tax returns accurately. However, it is important to note that if you are due a tax refund, you may want to file your tax return as soon as possible. The IRS is still processing tax returns and issuing refunds, so filing early can help you get your refund sooner. It is important to note that this extension does not apply to all taxpayers. If you are a business owner or have other tax-related obligations, you may not be eligible for the extension. It is also important to note that the extension only applies to federal taxes. State taxes are still due on the original deadline of April 18, 2023. This means that if you owe state taxes for the 2022 tax year, you must still pay them by April 18 to avoid penalties or interest. So, what do you need to know about the tax deadline extension? First and foremost, you need to know whether you are eligible. If you are an individual taxpayer in California, you are likely eligible for the extension. However, if you have other tax-related obligations or are unsure whether you are eligible, you should consult with a tax professional. If you are eligible for the extension, you have until May 16, 2023 to file your tax return and make any payments due for the 2022 tax year. It is important to note that this is a firm deadline, and if you do not file your tax return or make any payments due by this date, you may be subject to penalties and interest. It is also important to note that the tax deadline extension does not change the deadline to make estimated tax payments. If you are required to make estimated tax payments, you must still make them by the original deadlines. This means that the first estimated tax payment for the 2023 tax year is still due on April 18, 2023. In conclusion, the tax deadline extension for most California taxpayers is an important IRS tax alert that you need to be aware of. It provides some relief to taxpayers who may be struggling to meet their tax obligations due to the pandemic, but it is important to understand the eligibility requirements and deadlines associated with the extension. If you have any questions about the extension or your tax-related obligations, I encourage you to consult with a tax professional or visit the IRS website for more information. Thank you.